Okay.
Hey, Deb.
Hey there.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well.
Happy Monday. Happy Winephabet Street.
Do you have our mascot out there, or is it on this side?
No, Elmo is on the East Coast. Elmo is
Oh.
on the East Coast. So he is cheering us along from 3,000 miles away. Or cheering you along 3,000 miles away. Cheering you along, I don't know, what is it about 200 miles away?
Yeah, probably about 200.
Something like that.
Well, if I go up to New York, you should tell me. I'll swing by your parents and I'll pick it up.
That's yeah.
I don't know where I'm going up next, but
yeah, because and who knows when I'm going back to Jersey.
Yeah,
and apparently I've been told that when I do go back, I need to not go anywhere for 14 days.
Yeah, quarantine for 14 days.
So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
It's strange times.
Strange times. Yeah. As I keep saying to everybody, everybody asks about the winery or whatever. I'm like, you know what? It sucks, but I'm healthy. I'm happy.
Right.
We don't have the virus. All is good.
Yeah, that's how I think. We don't have the virus. We go into the restaurant. We're only open 3 days a week because, we're not even doing the business in 3 days. Like Friday we had no sales. Friday night, no restaurant sales. But we go in, we drink our kitchen wine, and
But I love the kitchen wine series. Love the kitchen wine series. Absolutely adore it. So anybody who's watching this or listening later on, you have to go to Kitchen 330 on Instagram. Are you doing it on Twitter?
Michael, the kitchen wine series is on my Instagram, HB Wine Goddess.
Oh, okay, HB Wine Goddess.
Yeah,
I love it. I absolutely love it. But anyway, today we are here for Winephabet Street, and we are up to the letter J, which completely blows my mind.
Yes.
We're season 2, letter J. And we decided this month we are doing a region, and it is the Jura region. And I am going to full out say it here. I've heard of it. I knew about it, but didn't know much about it. And I don't think I've had a wine from Jura before, except I'm going to go out on the limb, and Jim might have given me a Jura at one time or another because he always shares. Jim Member.
Isn't Jack here? That's the Savoy region. Isn't that up in the Jura?
I don't think it's a different region, right?
Savoy? I thought it was up in that area.
Savoy is the region, right?
Okay.
So I think it's the same general vicinity, but not the same.
What I didn't realize was how close in proximity it is to Burgundy.
Right.
Had I known that, I would have gone there after Burgundy instead of going back to Paris for 2 days because we had come from Paris. I would have gone over to the Jura region because we left from Dijon.
Yeah. So it's sandwiched there, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but this is complete sidebar stuff. It's sandwiched there and between Burgundy and the Swiss Alps. And so I have iFit on my treadmill. And for the last 2 weeks, I have been running up the Swiss Alps. I have done 3 mountains, none of which I can pronounce what they are. But the video, the incline has been pretty much 15% the entire time. But I have been running up 3 of the Swiss Alps mountains, and they are beautiful. And I told Mike that we need to go there because I need to be able to physically go up these things that I've been running virtually on the treadmill. So much fun. Anyway, so it's that time, Deb. We'll do a video and then we'll drink.
Sure.
Yep. All right, here we go. welcome to Jay.
And Jura.
I'm in Jura. And this is what I am drinking.
And this is what I am drinking.
So we both chose Côte de Jura. So what is your wine actually? Mine is a Truso.
Mine is Jean Bordy. And I'm not gonna spoil it. You're gonna have to wait till the end to hear about mine.
Okay. Oh, I was asking what was the grape variety?
It's a blend.
Oh, it's a blend. Okay.
It's a blend. What is yours a blend?
No, mine is 100% Truso.
Oh, okay. Mine's a blend of Truso, Pinot, and Poussard.
Poussard. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Here's this lovely sound.
Mine's a 2011, and I found it in my cellar.
Oh, okay.
So I pulled it out and saved it for Winephabet Street. So I have no idea how it's going to taste.
Well, mine is a 2017.
Okay, so now look at mine. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you are. See now, that is aged. That is looking a bit oxidized.
Yeah.
So curious, because we'll get into that when we get into. I'll talk about that in the characteristics.
And it could be oxidized.
It smells it.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine smells very peppery.
Mine has lost all its flavor. It's not really oxidized, but it's very thin.
Okay.
It's lost all its flavor. Bummer.
Very Pinot-esque. It's not showing well on the screen, but it's very light, which is what I learned Jura is about. Very peppery.
So now in my research, I was told this ages really well. So I'm kind of surprised. But then the cork, where's the thing?
Nope, you're going through. There it is.
See the cork was
but
so live and learn.
All right.
So that's the beauty of this. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't, and there's a wine that definitely on the bottom of the bell-shaped curve.
Yeah. Well, shall we get into the history?
Absolutely. Let me bring it up. Slides. Here we go. All righty. So the Jura region, let me just get my notes here, is known as Franche-Comté. And it's located between Burgundy and Switzerland. And it's divided into two areas. The areas, they're north and west of the Doubs Valley, and they're south and southeast. So here's just, you can see how close it is to Switzerland. Oh, I forget, you can't see my mouse. So I do this every time. It's like talking with your hands.
Right. Ooh.
So, originally,
that man naked?
Where?
The guy with the
I don't know. Maybe he's got a little shield in front there. So, originally, it was occupied in the 4th century BC by the Tigani. It's a Celtic tribe, and the region became part of the Roman Empire after Julius Caesar's victory over the Gauls in 52 BC. And it was later settled by the Burgundians. And then in 534 AD, it was conquered by the Franks. So it's had a lot of
change of hands.
Yeah, a lot. So
pretty.
I just thought it was pretty. Yeah. So it's named after the Jura Mountains, and the Jura belonged to the Free County of Burgundy, known by the French as Franche-Comté, and it's a name that was given to it in 1366. Now, in the course of life, in the course of history, there was a lot of different marriages, and it passed through different people. So it was passed through the marriage to Philip the Bold, Duke of Burgundy, and then he made the capital of the region Dole. And then a few more marriages and a few more passes downs, and it was severed from Burgundy. And in 1493, by the Treaty of Silenis, it went to the Habsburgs. And then after the region, after the reign of Emperor Charles V in 1556, it passed to the Spanish branch of the Habsburgs. And then French Comté was often invaded by the French during the 30-Year War. Dole was the capital until the region was conquered by Louis XIV, and then the capital was moved to Besançon. So it got changed over quite a number of times by emperors, by dukes, by countries. But I want to also let you know that on a side note, there is a certain dialect in Jura. It's the Arpadian language, and it's still spoken today in rural areas of the region. So,
wow.
So
this is the stuff that I love when I get to travel. I love looking at history, looking at runes, and learning all about that.
Yeah, I do too. So this is the capital of Besançon, and I'm probably not pronouncing it right. And it's nestled beneath an ancient citadel in the loop formed by the Doubs River. And the town has one of the oldest, finest public art galleries in France, with a collection of old masters with 19th century French art that includes work by Cranach, Titan, Bellini, Rembrandt, Rubens, Goya, and more. And it's been nicknamed the Petit Louvre. So, where are we here? So in 2016, the French Comté region was joined with Burgundy to form a new administrative entity of Bourguignon-Franche Comté. It spans from Côte d'Or, Doubs, Haute-Saône, Jura, Naïve, Saône et Loire, and the territory de Delfort and Yonne. It's bound by the regions of Avignon, Rhone, Alps to the south, Centre to the west, and the Ile-de-France and Grand Est to the north. And Switzerland is to the east, and the capital is now Dijon. And this was established in 2014 because French President Francois Hollande wanted to reduce the number of regions in metropolitan France from 21 to 13. So go figure.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, isn't that? So Jura is a small wine region that makes red, white, rosé, sparkling wine, sweet wine, and fortified wine. Their altitude, topography, climate, and clay-rich marl soil brings a uniqueness to their wines. They are most famous for their vin jaune, or yellow wine, and that's an oxidative white, similar to Pinot or Sherry. Pinot Sherry. The grapes of the region are how do you say it? Savagnin?
Savagnin.
Okay, that's Jura's signature grape, Truso, Poussard, Pinot Noir, and Chardonnay. And I thought their yellow wine was really pretty interesting. Yellow wine is made from the Savagnin grape. Once fermented, it's complete. It's kept for 6 years and 3 months in oak barrels, and it's bottled in a clavin. And its age capacity is one of the most important in the world. And every year, the first weekend of February, a different Jura village hosts the Procès du Vin Jaune, and it's a festival toasting the newly bottled vintage. And here we have the four main appellations in Jura. Arbos is the first appellation of origin control that was appointed by France. There's the Chateau Chalan, home of the Vinjon, and Litole, which is the Chablis of Jura, known for good Chardonnay wines, and Cremants de Jura, and Côtes de Jura, which is a catch-all appellation for all of the wines made in the region. And beside wine, it's known for cheese and sausages.
Yay!
So there's a lot going on there. I mean, for, a small, tiny region, it's got a ton of history. I mean, just been, tossed back and forth in the course of history between, all different people, and also heritages. There was France, Germany, and I do wish I knew where it was, because I would have gone there.
Yeah, so while you were talking, I did a little check, because I did think that they were near each other. And Savoie they're both East France.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool. Well, actually, I wonder if this will work. Savoie is directly under Jura. So
okay.
Jura's there.
Yeah, it's right next to it. Yeah.
Right, so it's right below it. It's right below, and actually even a little bit more east, because the Jura comes on in and Savoie comes on up. So it like hugs the Jura. So good memory, Deb. Good memory.
Sometimes I remember.
I'm lucky I remember earlier today. All right, so I'm going to get into the characteristics, and there's some repeat, but I went a little bit further in depth than what you did.
Yeah, I just did a basic because I knew that's what you were going to do.
Right. Our psychic vibes working together.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too in that. That was your department this month.
So the Jura is actually one of the smallest wine regions in France, and it actually is only about 2,000 hectares, which is just 5,000 acres. So like that blows my mind that there's a whole region dedicated to that little bit. Okay. It is located on the far eastern edge of France, and it is sandwiched, as you said, between Burgundy and the Swiss Alps. Now, as I was doing research for this, every article that I read, so I can't give credit to all of them, because like I'd have a list of 50,000 names here, but the words that they used to describe Jura were so funny. It was weird wine, obscure wine, offbeat wine, geeky wine, and the missing piece for wine lovers. So these are all Decanter, Wine Spectator, Wine Enthusiast, all of those articles. This is how they describe the region. And I have to admit, it started to make me a little nervous by hearing all those things. But what is cool, going back to the cool part of the Jura region is, or I should say sad, is that prior to the 19th century, the Jura region, as small as it is, actually produced the same amount, if not more, bottle wine, bottle production, than Burgundy. So for a small region, they produced a lot of wine. But unfortunately, they got decimated by phylloxera. And then after phylloxera, mildew came in and devastated them even more. And then World War I came in, and that was about it. And prior to that trifecta of a disaster, Jura produced about 5 times as much wine as they do today. So they really, really did get decimated. This is an image of the soil that you can find in the Jura, and that is marl and limestone. And there is clay on the upper level of it. And so it's clay overlays. And the soil allows for a large group variety of grape varieties to grow in there. So you do get a lot of different types of grape varieties in the Jura region. Because of its location and soil composition, it is very often compared to Burgundy, but the region is a whole different climate than Burgundy. They see a much longer and colder winter. So this is the Jura vineyard in winter, and I was like, oh, I kind of hate the snow, but that's really pretty. So the longer and colder winter, and they actually harvest, their average harvest is November and into December, because their season gets pushed back so much because of the cold weather that by the time it warms up, they're harvesting in, late November all the way through late December. And that blows my mind. I mean, Cabernet, we harvest in October, like the second week of October. Our very first vintage we harvested in November, and we were like, oh my God, this is so late. But typically it's mid, early to mid October, and they are typically mid-November to late December. So I'm guessing that kind of like in New Jersey, right? November and December are cold, but we're not really getting that snow yet. We're not getting the consistent temperatures. And with this climate change, it almost seems like we're really not getting significant cold weather till almost late January, February now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we have been known now in the last, 5 years to be getting our one major snow blizzard in March. And I know the last two spring sports seasons, which open on April 1st, there was snow on the ground for spring seasons. So our season is getting shifted back. Now, if they're already late, I'm curious as to what that's happening, what the climate change is going to happen to them. So the other thing about this region is because it's so cold that it's very difficult for the grapes to reach ripening, that they are allowed to do chaptalization. So they are allowed to add sugar to the grapes in order to get the wines to the level that they want it to. White wines, and this, I'm going to say this, and I apologize because it's horrible grammar, and it's not very good speaking skills, but I'm going to keep saying I was blown away by this fact because almost everything that I learned about the Jura region, I was like, oh my God, that's kind of cool. Oh my God, that's kind of cool. So they are kind of reversed of what we are in terms of how they age their wines. So their whites are typically aged in oak, but their reds are aged in stainless steel. So their reds are very light, which mine is, and their whites are aged in oak, so you're going to get a fuller body. Now, Jancis Robinson apparently is a big fan of the Jura, and she states that the Jura is best known for their individualized grape varieties. So this is Pulsard, which you said is part of your blend. Yeah. And as she puts it, it makes vivacious rose-scented reds. Their next major wine, which is what I have, is Truso, and it makes deeper reds, intriguingly combined pepper and violet scents. But most exciting, according to Jancis Robinson, is Truso's progeny, which is what you were talking about, Sauvignon Blanc, which should not be confused with Sauvignon Blanc. Okay, and it is identical to the heady Traminer, but in Jura is capable of making extremely intense, long-lived, full-bodied, dry white wines, as well as versions that are deliberately oxidized. And they are the grape that is the grape that is used for their yellow wines, which I will get into in a little bit. Now, again, this is kind of cool. Sauvignon Blanc was sold to Australia nurseries, or to, Australian nurseries, but it was mislabeled as Albarino. So Australia was growing all of these vineyards of Albarino and falling in love with this grape variety. And then it turns out it's not Albarino, it's Sauvignon Blanc. So there is a large amount of vineyards in Australia dedicated to Sauvignon Blanc. And being the science dork that I am, again, oh my God, that's so cool. Louis Pasteur was born here, and he was raised in the Jura region, and he actually owned a vineyard, which I have read so many books about Louis Pasteur. I mean, he's like an idol, and I had never known that he did it, that he owned a vineyard, but he owned a vineyard near Arbois. So this is where he is from. Weather in Jura can be very unpredictable, as you would expect. The nearby mountains are known for stirring up a spring's frost, and they have very heavy summer rains and even a lot of devastating hailstorms. So it must be a very arid, region to be a winemaker, to be a vineyard owner, because there is just a lot of bad stuff that can happen in the environment. Jura does produce, so you would expect them to produce Pinot and Chardonnay, of which they do, but the Pinots are of much lighter body than what I guess we're kind of used to from California. And they make them extremely well, and they are thought to be the best values out of the Jura region. Now, here's the thing. They are most known for their oxidized wines. So they produce, this is from an article from Wine Cooler Direct. They state that Jura is for wine lovers who love stinky cheese and roller coasters. So I guess it's, you don't know is it oxidized, is it not, this is this type of wine, this is this type of wine. And then the stinky cheese, I'm going with the oxidized. So I was nervous to kind of drink this, but mine is not oxidized. Mine is, the Truso is more Pinot-esque with some pepper. Now, the region has 5 signature styles, which when you look at the label can help a consumer to decide, figure out what they have on. So this is a Vajjon, and that is what you said translates to yellow wine. This is an oxidative style, very similar to sherry, from the grape variety Sauvignon. The fruit is harvested as late as possible and is aged in oak barrels. The barrels are not topped off, so therefore they get a yeast layer on them, and like a Solera basically, but they call it a Voyal. And this forms on top, and it does protect from some oxidation. But after a minimum of 6 years and 3 months, the oxidized wine is bottled in these cool little squatty bottles that, as you said, were called Clavelin. So if you're going to buy this, you need to expect a very intense flavor with a high nuttiness and very complex spiciness. Now, the next type of wine is called Vintaits. And this can also be labeled as a Côte de Jura tradition. And this is also aged in barrels, but it is allowed to oxidize, but it's not for the same amount of time as the Vin-Jaune. So they are typically produced when the Voyal is not doing the job correctly. So they want to produce a Vajjon, but the Solera or the Voyal is not doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. So they're like, well, we don't want to lose this wine completely, so we're going to bottle this now and sell it off before it gets completely oxidized. So this is a kind of an introductory way into the Vajjon, and it is much less expensive because it didn't spend that much time in production. Vintaits is a dessert wine that is super sweet. The grapes are dried for 6 weeks, originally on straw pallets, and that's where the name comes from, because vin de pau translates to straw wine. They are gently pressed, allowing to ferment, and then aged for several years. Typically made from Chardonnay, Sauvignon, and Pulsard grapes. And when you have this wine, you are expecting a very deep colored wine and walnut and raisin flavors. that kind of is a little interesting to me because walnut to me is almost a fault on my palate. But that's what that's what you're going to get. Next is Masvin, and this is a peculiar style that really has me like, this is cool to me. The fruit, and that's what this picture is. The fruit is fermented while in contact with all of the pomace and marc, which is left after pressing. So it's kind of like whole cluster. I think they're kind of a whole cluster, but they're pressing it and then throwing the pomace back in. And this is usually served as an aperitif, and you can expect it to be rather spicy and have raisin flavors. And then the last one, which I kind of wish I would have found, was a Cremant de Jura. It's a Cremant. So we all know what Cremant means. It's a sparkling wine made from either Chardonnay or Pinot. And again, you're going to expect a fresh, fruity, and crisp style sparkling that can be found as a white or a rosé, and apparently a great value. Now, the Jura, for such a small region, actually has 7 different appellations. This information all came from the Jura Wines website directly. So AOC Arbois, which was created on May 15th in 1936, born from the Celtic Ar and Bois, meaning fertile land. The appellation Arbois was the first French AOC to date. It is also today the first in the Jura by its production volume. So it has about 29,100 hectoliters per year. This appellation itself is spread over 12 municipalities with 766 acres. There are 5 grape varieties that are allowed to be under this label or in this AOC. 70% is red, while the remaining 30 is white. And obviously the red dominates. This region is iridescent clay, siliceous, and compact marls. The next one, which is the second bottle, is Chateau Chalan. This is known as the AOC of Excellence. This was created on May 29th, 1936. This AOP produces exclusively yellow wine made from the Sauvignon grape variety. It is an extremely small AOC vineyard, produces a wine of excellence in a very limited territory. Only 60 hectares are used to create these wines. Since 1958, the AOC Control Commission has been passing through the vines every year, and they check on every single part of this. So the vines that are in the vineyard all the way through the bottling gets checked by the AOC Control Commission. The third bottle is AOC Leato, and this is known as the Celestial appellation for exceptional wines. This was created on July 31st, 1937. It was named after a star because the village is surrounded by 5 hills forming the branches of the star, so kind of like a pentacross. And because its vines conceal countless pentarcrene fossils, they can be found while working in the vineyards. The grape varieties consist mainly of Chardonnay, but they do also have Sauvignon, and much, much lesser proportions, they do have Pulsard. The white wines express the terroir of this AOC with elegance and finesse, and this wine is produced only over 67 hectares. The last bottle on this is what we have, the Côte de Jura, and the expression of diversity. July 31st, 1937. The Côte de Jura appellation is the most extensive of the Jura appellations. It extends from north to south, which gives it a large number of terroir contrasts, and this constitutes a territory of discovery, and there are loads and loads of different expressions, and the majority of variety of grape varieties there. And as you can see, all of these, this is what Debbie and I were talking about before we started. All of the bottles have Jura on the bottle itself, not engraved, embossed on the bottles. The 5th is AOC Macvin de Jura. This is known as the amazing AOC. November 14th, relatively young, 1991. This covers all the AOC areas of the Jura wines, but represents only 5% of the total production. The Macvin de Jura belongs to a very closed French club of mistletoe, which is a type of liquor of the AOC, and it is the only one to be made from a brandy, so of a grape mark, and not wine. Known since the 14th century, the Macvin de Jura is obtained from unfermented grape juice, must, to which 1/3 of the brandy mark is added. This is regulated to be at least 10 months in oak barrels, and it must have between 16 and 22% alcohol to be obtained to get this AOC. The varieties are 5 of them: Truso, Pulsar, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon. Cremant de Jura AOC is the effervescence appellation. This was created only in 1995, October 9th. The production of the sparkling wines in the Jura dates back to the end of the 18th century, when the Jura wine growers mastered the traditional method. The appellation area is identical to that of the Côtes de Jura, Arbois, Chateau Chalan, and Etiole. The grape varieties authorized are the 5 again: Pulsar, Pinot Noir, Truso, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon. For the white, it's mostly Chardonnay. For the red, it is mostly Pinot and Truso. Okay, and the last one, how cool is that bottle?
That is way cool.
Right. The last one is AOC Marc de Jura. So this is the mystery AOC. This was very, very young. This was only created 5 years ago, February 2nd in 2015. This is the latest AOC de Jura appellation. The Marc de Jura appellation designates an amber brandy, an essential component of the famous Macvin de Jura. It has been distilled for centuries by Jura wine growers who consider it a heart warmer. Powerful and fragrant, it delights any meal. Brandy is aged in wood with the exception of the quantities intended for industrial use or for compound products. So they designate how they age the wine by whether it is going to be sold as a personal consumption, like a bottle like you can see in this picture. But if it's going to be a commercial product, it does not get aged in wood, in barrels. No.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, so they're separating. I mean, I don't want to say that's a quality thing, but they're separating what this characteristic of this AOC is going to be, whether they're going to produce it for individual consumption or it's going out to a mass market. And I don't know if this is true or not, but like I wonder if it's going out to a mass market, it's a primer to something else. And then that commercial company is going to then do something else to it. I have no idea, but that was what entered my mind. Expect candied grape with nuances of vanilla and a slight bitterness due to copper. It is aged longer in wood and it rounds out the bitterness a bit, and you can expect dried fruit aromas. This is volatile substances other than ethanol and methyl, alcohols of 400 grams per liter of pure alcohol, and the title minimum alcoholic strength by volume is 40%. So you are getting hammered.
So we have some questions.
Yes.
We have some questions. So Karen wanted to know if the late harvest in the Jura is because the mountains block the sun. And I tried to look that up and I couldn't find an answer.
I do not. I think they're doing it to they're specifically harvesting it to be a late harvest. I don't know if that's what she's asking or not, but that is specifically being, because they have.
The late harvest is for late harvest wine.
Yes.
Gotcha. I thought you meant that they harvest, because I know here we've harvested Cab from Long Island the beginning of December.
Right. Now that's because of the weather. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And that's why the Jura region is allowed to use chapitalization, is because they are keeping that fruit on the vines as long as they can to get to ripeness. And then they're picking for ripeness for the majority of the wines. But then there's that Sauvignon is staying on longer to produce a late harvest wine.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
And Michael wanted to know from our boys, is Chardonnay one of the whites that's part of the 30%? I believe it is.
Yes. Arbois. Yes, it is. Yeah, because they're allowed the five. They're allowed the five.
Right.
Varieties.
Mm-hmm.
So Chardonnay is. But as they're known for oxidized wines, which is funky.
Mine is.
Yeah, yours. Now I'm curious. Yours is aged.
Right. I think mine is aged in actually it's not really oxidized. It's more it's lost its
prime.
It's on the bottom of the bell-shaped curve.
Right. So it's already past its secondary and into its tertiary. Right. Because that color is a very aged white wine.
Red. This is red.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Because you can just barely taste the fruit. I mean, when I say barely, it's barely.
Right. Like it's very bricked, which is, you're tawny. You're into tawny already.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a tawny port.
No, I like it's not. Wrong country, completely wrong country.
All right. So I'll talk about, or do you want to talk about your?
Sure, I'll talk about mine.
I'm sorry to tell you, Deb, I'm enjoying mine.
I know.
So this is what we're drinking, and for those of you who are viewing this, you can see both of our labels, both of our bottles have the Jura embossed onto it. And it seems like all of the pictures we see, all of the wines have that. Now, I didn't read anything that was required, but it seems to be kind of a consistent thing. So who do you have, Deb?
I have Jean Bordy wines. He's like the oldest in the region.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. For all I know, this could be like worth $1,000 for all I know. Too bad it's done. Do you want me to talk about my wine or? What was that?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I actually have a.
Well, give me time to drink.
Okay, so you drink yours. Mine obviously is on the. It is past its peak. If you see the cork, it's got, the wine on it. So I don't know. I can read you what it says on the back, and then I do have a presentation.
All right.
It says, according to the tradition of the family, I need new glasses. The wine ages slowly during 4 years in old barrels before bottling. The wine is made from 34% Pinot, 33 Poussard, and 33 Truso. Uncork the bottle 3 to 4 hours before tasting. And that's what I did.
That's a lot of decanting.
Yeah. So here, let me get my slideshow up for them. So Domaine Jean Bordy. So those are.
Oh, that's the Clavin.
Okay. Jean Bordy, as it's known, is one of the oldest domains in the Jura region. The founding domain goes back to between 1475 and 1500. Today, domain Jean Bordy is run by 15th generation Jean-Philippe and Jean-Francois Bordy, and it is one of the oldest continually operated wineries in the world.
Pretty.
Yeah. I thought it was a nice picture of the vineyard with the soil. In 2006, they converted the entire 10-hectare estate to biodynamic, and in 2010, they became Demeter certified. So they've put a lot of effort into their vineyards. It's very important. So they produce red blends that are Persard, Pinot Noir, and Truso, and they make white Swiss Chardonnay or Savon, and of course they make this very special Chateau Chalan, okay, which is aged more than 6 years and has a film flora that protects the wine. And it's got one of the most complex noses that can be found in the wine world. And the Chateau Chalan is a village, and you went on the appellation, whose vineyards produce the most famous yellow wines from the Jura under the appellation of the Chateau Chalan AOC. And so at the winery, they use old barrels in their winemaking. And some of these barrels are as old as 80 years old. They have a full cellar of old vintages, thanks to all the generations before them. They have a library dating back to 1926.
So cool.
Yes, and I found that. That's way cool. So I also found that their pricing was very interesting. So they employ what's called like an old school method of offering. So the current release rests in the cellar for 3 to 6 months. So they'll release a portion of what they made. And then every 12 months, they'll release a little bit more of what they made. So like, 3 years later, they still might be releasing, the 2007 wine. And when they re-release them, the price changes. So like if you get say 2019, you get a 2019, say it's $20. In 2020, it's going to be $30.
Right. And so they're kind of own entrepreneur type thing, except getting you're getting the wine, but
yeah. So I thought that was just kind of neat, kind of different,
Is that them specifically, or is that? Did you see if that was a?
No, that's them specifically.
Oh, okay.
They call it an old school method by offering first trace pricing on the current release and then putting the rest in the cellar, and then then they release it in increments.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like I said, my wine is the blend. The vineyard size is 3.2 hectares. The soil is red clay and gavel. The average age of the vines that the grapes come from are 30 to 40 years. They are biodynamic Demeter certified. They harvest by hand. 6 to 10 day whole cluster fermentation with natural yeast. Second fermentation before adding to barrels. 48 months in old oak. And that's about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but from what I understand, they're supposed to be age worthy, but mine age worthied out. That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
More times than I have to say than they should.
Yeah. Well, you said it was an 11?
11. So it's 9 years old.
No, when you're saying age worthy, you don't really think 9 is age worthy. When I say maybe it was
Well, like they have a cellar dating back to 1926. So.
Right, but you do have to remember when they're saying certain things, like that cellar has been imperfect. Those wines have not been
Right.
touched.
But you don't know that they might open it and it might be a
right
too.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they've changed corks. Probably.
I don't know about that.
No, you have to change corks like 20 years. Right? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know, but 9 years is not what I would expect. That is seriously bricked.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a bad bottle. I don't know.
Like I said, I have no idea where I got it from. I just happened to be rummaging through my cellar one day and I saw it. I said, I got to take this for Winephabet Street.
And it doesn't sound like that. Like the Côtes de Jura doesn't seem to be the oxidized wines.
Right. No, it's not.
Right. So, all right. So once again, I have Frederic Lornay, Charles Rouget, Côtes de Jura, Truso, which is a 2017. And I did kind of try to figure out who Charles Rouget was. I don't know why it's named that. Not gonna lie, I didn't spend a whole lot of time going down the rabbit hole, but I don't know. The winery is Frederic Lornay.
Oh, that's pretty.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is what the winemaker states about this wine. Light ruby in color. I will definitely give him that. Aromas of red fruit and spice. I will give him that. Although I get licorice, but actually red licorice, like not Twizzler, vines, red vines. It smells like red vines. They say the mouth offers flavors of raspberry and pepper. The palate is of medium body. I would go light body. Lingering finish on the palate. I think it's a little short on the finish. Pair with duck confit, rabbit, and brie cheese. So I'm only doing the brie. Based in the heart of Arbois, in the hillside village of Montagne-les-Aussures, Fred is the second generation winemaker, taking over the 1 hectare vineyard owned by his father, Roger Lornay. Roger was also the mayor of Montagne. Roger's 1 hectare has become nearly 20 since he took over. Fred's range of wines are focused and mineral driven. The Lornay family winery starts with Eugene, Frederick's grandfather, who was a cooper and a wine grower. Eugene's son Roger was one of the first of the Jura producers to bottle in Arbois. And Frederic Lornay took over the family tradition, producing elegant Jura wines, red and white. Their cellar is located in a 13th century Cistercian abbey.
Cool.
Pretty, right? Cistercian, and the vines of the domain are planted on 16 plots, which have been delimited in the past by the Cistercians monks. The vines all have a southern exposure with an average of 30 years age, and they are planted on red clay and limestone. They purposely keep the yields low to focus on quality. The grapes are fully destemmed and fermented in oak foudres, which are the big guys. Daily cap management, including pump overs, are continued through 10-day fermentation, and then my wine is aged in oak barrels. So that is an image of their Boyel with the Solera system, basically. And this, how did I go into that? Oh, damn, I did the wrong slide. There we go. I was like, that's pretty, but that's not it. Hold on.
That's me.
Oh, that's you. Oh, my God. Where the hell am I?
You're there.
There I am. Pardon moi. There he is. Okay. There's
Okay.
Frederick. That is the only picture of Frederick on the entire internet. It is there about 50,000 times, but that is the only picture of him. And then that's the Abbey. And that's the only pictures there were.
That looks more like an Abbey than the other.
Yeah. The other.
All right, so let me go into the food. So I'll get you guys out on the West Coast all hungry.
I'm actually really digging this, Deb. Sorry.
Well.
Mine, how much was oh, you don't remember because it's so old.
I have no idea.
20.
I don't know how much it cost. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know how it showed up.
Yeah. Mine was $21.
Okay, that's not bad. So Jura is French Comté, which is known for cheese and charcuterie. And traditional recipes are often with fatty sauces. Some specialties are made with green vegetables. And this is interesting because the farmers had to produce most of their food, so they raised cows and pigs and produced their own meat and dairy. And menus were often composed of ham and cheese, and fondue is also popular due to the proximity to Switzerland.
Oh, bacon? You got all that bacon? No bacon?
Yeah, no bacon. Now this is a Montebellard sausage. And it's a sausage made with pork, smoked for 48 hours in a tied chimney, using wood only to feed the fire. And the true Monte sausage has a tiny piece of wood attached to it, as well as a ring proving its authenticity.
All right, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So the traditional way to prepare them is with potatoes, like you see here. Cook some potatoes in a pan filled with half milk and half water. Add the sausages, cook for 1.5 hours, and drain.
Wow.
So the difference between a Morteau and a Montebellard sausage is the town. Okay. Now the Montebellard sausage is shorter than the Morteau sausage, but they're both produced the same way. So now we're going to go into our charcuterie. We're going into cheese. So this is the Comté cheese. And it's funny because I order that a lot from Murray's Cheese when I put in a cheese order.
Love it.
And then more beer cheese. And I believe, and I want to say that's ash in it, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I buy that too.
Nope.
Oh, you don't like that?
No.
One?
No.
Oh, and then we have, this is a cheese. This looks really good because you eat it with a spoon. It's called Mont Dior cheese. It's a cheese you eat with a spoon, and it's gooey, runny, and sticky.
It's like a triple cream type thing. So good.
Yeah, this is good. So it's named after Mont Dior, which is a golden mountain in the Jura region. It's a raw milk cheese that's produced only between August 15th and March 15th. It has a unique nutty taste from the spruce bark it's wrapped in. There are only 11 factories in the Jura region licensed to produce this cheese. It's a protected cheese, so you can eat it hot. You just stick it in the oven for 8 minutes.
Drooling.
I know. So now this is like a type of blue cheese, bleu de Guet, and it's also called bleu de Haute Jura. It's a creamy, semi-soft blue cheese made from unpasteurized cow's milk in the Jura region. And besides eating it, you can make this cipollini and blue cheese tart that I put on the bottom there. And cipollini are those little onions. And then we have Coke van John. It's made with the orange wine. Hold on a second. Or not orange wine, the yellow wine.
Yellow wine.
Yeah. It's made with the yellow wine. And then they also, dandelion salad.
Oh, I love dandelions.
They call it cremelat salad.
Okay.
So, and then we have breast chicken. So this chicken is produced from white chickens, breast bred, raised within the Bresse region of France. They're considered to be the best chickens in the world. And they have a genetic lineage that allows them to metabolize their food in a unique way, which helps to create a different flavor as well as meat and fat growth pattern. Additionally, the meat to bone ratio is vastly different from traditional chickens because their bones are quite thin and dainty.
Oh,
so
dainty.
If you can find this chicken, and I would definitely give it a try. Because it's like Kobe beef, I guess you would say. It's the Kobe beef of chicken.
See, there is so much coolness about this region.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing the food, I'm like, I got to talk about the food from the region. The cheese, because the sausages. I thought that was really interesting with the sausages.
So much coolness going on. So much coolness. All right, well, we are at that time that we're about to wrap it up. So we've got fast facts for you. So we'll start this slideshow again. Fast facts. The name Jura is derived from Jura, a Latinized form of the Celtic stem jur for forest. Somewhere I also read that it's also linked to Jurassic, but I couldn't find that in multiple places. So throwing that out there, don't know how true that is. The land under Vine occupies a very small area among the foothills of the Jura, amounting to about 2,000 hectares. And as I said earlier, it used to be almost 5 times that prior to the phylloxera, mildew, and World War I. Vin translates to yellow wine, and that's the oxidative style similar to sherry from the grape variety Sauvignon. These guys just crack me up. Every February, a different village in the Jura region hosts the Percée du Vin Jaune. The weekend festival is a celebration of the unique wine and the particular region in which it was produced. And again, here's another cool thing that they're every year a different, the different village kind of hosts it.
Yeah,
so right, they're spreading the wealth, spreading the pride, spreading everything, and it seems to be a very small but neat little community that really cares about each other. Kind of cool. And wine isn't all that France's Jura region has to offer. In addition to the Vin Jaune and Poulsard grapes, the Jura region is also known for fine cheeses, especially the Gruyere and Comté. And little added fast fact, the Laughing Cow is from the Jura region.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Laughing Cow. So that is Jura.
So I suggest if anybody is visiting Burgundy and going out down that way, take a couple days afterwards and just hang a right and go to the Jura region.
Yep. And when I go and really hike my Swiss Alps, I'm going to the left.
Well, thank you, Renee.
So
for next week, here's the link for next month.
So we have some exciting news for next month. Again, we are going to be sponsored next month. And we are going to be talking the letter K. And I'm going to say it wrong, and I should have checked how to say it. But we are going to be sponsored by, Deb, the winery.
Oh, the winery. Yeah, actually, I do have it right here. It is Drezella, Dereszla. And we're going to have the winemaker. It's a female winemaker. By Edit. Bai is her first name. Edit is her last.
So really excited. And so join us. Debbie put the link in. What's the date?
I did. What is the date? The date is
21st.
I think so. I'm looking at the thing. It says I don't know.
I think it's the 21st. It's the 3rd.
Something's not working here right with things, so I'm going to have to fix that.
Okay. It's the 3rd Monday of the month.
Yes, it's the 3rd Monday of the month. Yeah, Monday, August 17th.
Oh, 17th. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know why this isn't, well, I'll have to fix this after. Oh, here it is, because I didn't hit register. Duh. What an idiot I am.
All right, so thank you everybody for joining for J for Jura. I found it to be a really cool learning experience for me. I hope you guys too. And
yeah, we'll see. We don't want to keep you much longer than, we've already surpassed our hour.
Yeah. So thank you very much. We will see everybody next month. If you grab a bottle of Jura, please, be sure to tag Debbie and me. And,
definitely. And let me know how you enjoy it, since I didn't get to enjoy mine.
Yeah.
That's all right.
We'll see everybody next month. And
have a great week.
Stay safe. Deb, I'll send you a link.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.